Operation Flagship was a sting operation jointly organised by the United States Marshals Service and the Metropolitan Police Department in Washington, D.C. that resulted in the arrest of 101 wanted fugitives on the 15th of December 1985. In an amazing and unexpected twist, the fugitives voluntarily went to the Washington Convention Center, responding to an invite sent by law enforcement, posing as a fictitious television company to claim 2 free tickets to watch the Washington Redskins home game against the Cincinnati Bengals, and for a chance to win tickets to Super Bowl 20. A total of 166 marshals and police officers were involved in the operation, several of whom were disguised as tuxedo-wearing ushers, cheerleaders, emcees, caterers, mascots, and maintenance staff. The operation was hailed as one of the largest and most successful mass arrests of fugitives by American law enforcement. Background. From 1981 to 1986, the US Marshals Service conducted a series of 9 operations called Fugitive Investigative Strike Team, or FIST operations, with the aim of capturing thousands of wanted fugitives in the United States. One tactic the US Marshals used to lure fugitives was get something for nothing schemes, which were quite often successful. This was demonstrated in 1984 when US Marshals conducted FIST 7, a large-scale operation spanning over 2 months and 8 states that resulted in the arrest of 3,309 fugitives. In New York City, fugitives were sent a notice from the fictitious Brooklyn Bridge delivery service to pick up their valuable packages. In Buffalo, fugitives were notified that they had won between $250 and $10,000 in a lottery. In Hartford, Connecticut, younger fugitives were notified that they had won 2 free tickets to a Boy George concert, including dinner for 2 and the use of a limousine. In all cases, the fugitives were arrested when they tried to claim their packages or prizes at specified locations. For the marshals, arresting fugitives while away from home was significantly safer, as they were often caught unarmed and off guard. At least half of the 3,309 fugitives arrested in FIST 7 were later released on bail. Preparation. For Operation Flagship, while having dinner, Chief Deputy U.S. Marshal Tobias P. Roach and U.S. Marshal Herbert M. Rutherford III noted the uproar of support for the Washington Redskins, particularly the difficulty in acquiring tickets for their sold-out home games, and the fact that the waiting list for season tickets lasted several years. They particularly focused on the much-anticipated December 15th game between the Redskins and the Bengals, the winner of which would determine who would go to the playoffs. In November 1985, Roach, with the approval of Rutherford, instructed Deputy U.S. Marshals and Fugitive Task Force members of the Washington, D.C. Metropolitan Police Department to mail invitations to the last known addresses of approximately 3,000 wanted persons. The invitations were sent by the fictitious firm Flagship International Sports Television, which shares the same acronym with Fugitive Investigative Strike Team. The recipients were told that as part of the firm's promotional offer, they had won 2 complimentary tickets to the Redskins-Bengals game, and that they were invited to a pre-game brunch at the Washington Convention Center on the morning of December 15, 1985. The recipients were also told they could enter a raffle draw to win 10 season tickets for the Washington Redskins and the grand prize of a week-long, all-expenses-paid trip to New Orleans to watch Super Bowl 20. The fugitives were wanted for various felonies, including assault, robbery, burglary, escape, narcotics violations, rape, arson, fraud, or a combination thereof. Of the 3,000 people who were sent invitations, 167 replied positively to the invitation. Various clues were left by Roach, who authored the ruse. For example, the invitation letters sent by the marshals were signed by I. Michael Detnor, wanted spelled backwards, and when the fugitives called the specified telephone number to confirm their attendance, an operator would redirect them to Flagship's business manager, Marcus Cran, Narc spelled backwards, while the song I Fought the Law played in the background. Still, the ruse was convincing enough that on the morning of December 15th, a lawyer representing the actual local broadcaster for the Redskins game went to the police command post to issue a cease and desist order, complaining that Flagship International did not have the appropriate license to operate in the district. The marshals and officers spent 6 weeks training for the operation, including 3 dress rehearsals. Deputy marshals were brought in from outside Washington, D.C., as the planners feared that some of the fugitives might recognize the local marshals who had guarded them in courtrooms or taken them to jail. The sting. The marshals and police officers arrived at the convention centre at 5:30 a.m. on December the 15th to set up the operation. To minimise risk, the planners set up 2 separate areas in the convention centre, one area to greet the guests, and another area where they can separate the fugitives in smaller batches to make the arrests. Although the invitations indicated guests should arrive at 9 a.m, many of the excited guests arrived as early as 8 a.m. To make the scene more believable and festive, undercover officers carried balloons, sang Redskins cheers, served buffet brunch, and played videos from the Redskins' first Super Bowl win on the convention center screens. Aside from the tuxedos and service crew uniforms, one marshal wore a Redskins wall bonnet, while another wore a knockoff San Diego chicken suit to parade around the convention center, while also monitoring if the fugitives were becoming suspicious. Every officer involved was armed underneath their costume. Upon the fugitives' arrival, deputy marshals posing as Flagship international employees checked their IDs, verified their identities through phone calls with backroom staff, and gave them colour-coded name tags. Code words such as double winner were used to warn that a specific fugitive is considered dangerous. Female undercover officers posing as cheerleaders were tasked with discreetly frisking the fugitives for concealed weapons by offering hugs and putting their arms around their waists while escorting fugitives to the next area. Louis McKinney, Chief of Enforcement Operations for the US Marshals, posed as the top hat-wearing Master of Ceremonies for the program exclusively for the winners. Each group of fugitives, approximately 10 to 20 per batch, were told to sit down in an auditorium to listen to a few remarks from McKinney, after which they will be awarded their prizes. Upon mentioning the signal word, surprise, 25 members of the Special Operations Group, commanded by the late Deputy US Marshal William F. Deegan Jr., wearing tactical gear, would storm the auditorium and quickly surround the fugitives. They were then handcuffed and escorted outside to awaiting buses. A total of 101 fugitives were arrested by the end of the operation. Outcome. Reporters from CBS and the Los Angeles Times were specifically invited by the marshals to document and publicize the operation. Stanley Morris, the director of the US Marshals Service at the time, credited the media coverage for boosting the organization's profile with the general public. 2 days after the operation, an editorial by the Washington Post enumerated the criminal records of the arrested fugitives: 15 warrants for assault, 5 for robbery, 6 for burglary, 4 for escape, 19 for bond default or bail violation, 18 for narcotics violations, 59 for probation or parole violation, and 41 for a variety of charges, from rape to arson to forgery. The total cost of Operation Flagship amounted to $22,100, or approximately $218.81 per arrest. In comparison, the US Marshals Service typically spent an average of $1,295 per arrest in 1985. 2 of the marshals involved in the operation, Lou McKinney, the Master of Ceremonies, and Stacia Hilton, one of the cheerleaders, went on to become directors of the US Marshals Service. In 2016, NFL Films produced a short documentary featuring interviews with McKinney, Hilton, Roach, and Rutherford. In 2017, ESPN produced a 30 for 30 documentary short about the operation called Strike Team. Writing in 2019, authors Jerry Clark and Ed Palatella described Operation Flagship as one of the most legendary and effective in the history of the US Marshals Service. They attributed its double success to the sheer number of fugitives caught in a single operation, while also avoiding the dangers typically associated with capturing them at home or on the streets. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, then please give it a like, and for more amazing tales and thrilling stories, don't forget to subscribe to Uncovered Secrets. Also, hit the bell icon to stay notified for every release.